School funding in Indiana is confusing. In South Bend, since the inception of the Empowerment Zone in 2019, there's been confusion about how it's funded. A warm and sunny day at the park in South Bend. No one here is thinking about school funding. Are you a taxpayer?
Absolutely.
Except us. Would you, as the average person, be able to tell me how schools are funded?
No, I don't know anything about that around here.
That I don't. I don't know how it is that they are funded.
Next week, the South Bend School Board will likely make a decision that could impact taxpayers young and old. They're deciding what's next for the schools on South Bend's west side.
There's just not a lot of information out there.
The original 5-year transformation agreement for Navarre Middle School and its feeder elementary schools is almost over. But before any major decisions are made,
this was actually a story that you pitched.
Empowerment Zone leaders want to make sure everyone is on the same financial page.
It's dawned on me that there's a lot of misunderstanding, misnomers, miscommunication.
Empowerment Zone Chief Davion Lewis sat down with us to talk about where the zone's money is coming from, who manages it, and where it goes.
We don't consider ourselves to be completely separate and apart from SBCSC.
Like all school funding, where the money comes from is complex. Some funds come from federal grants, things like title grants, COVID funds, money for kids with disabilities, and school improvement grants. Some funds come from the state. This is per pupil funding that follows the student. This is special ed and career and technical education. And some funds come from local property tax dollars. This is what you pay if you own a house, a business, or property. All schools in the state are funded similarly. So all this money comes in from the Indiana Department of Education and goes to the South Bend Community School Corporation. The South Bend Community School Corporation manages about 97% of the Empowerment Zone's funds. So if there was $171 million in here representing South Bend Community School Corporation's 2023 approved general fund budget, about $35 million of this would belong to the Empowerment Zone.
So the money is assigned to service the student, not the district. And so what the district ultimately does is acts as a pass-through for the zone.
That $35 million that is held by the district is about 97% of the Empowerment Zone's yearly budget. Other than setting its own budget, the zone doesn't have access to that money. The South Bend Community School District executes all transactions, including paying staff, vendors, and expenses.
The district, SBCSC, is the LEA, which is Local Education Agency. And so ultimately, as the LEA, there are a number of responsibilities that they have, include being the recipient of our state and federal dollars, and they simply just channel those dollars to our discretion.
There is another much smaller cup of money that the Empowerment Zone has access to. About 3% of the zone's funding, or $1.1 million, is held by a 501c3.
All the information about the finances of the zone and how it works, it's out there.
Lewis says zone leaders have worked hard to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. The zone pays the district about $6 million a year for its shared services, things like utilities, food services, and insurance. And there have been efforts to increase efficiency and erase duplicated services. This year, the zone cut about $2.3 million in spending. Next year, about $3 million.
In your opinion, is the zone worth the money for this area?
I mean, I would certainly think so.
A 3-year financial audit was just done this year on the zone. It was clean. In the studio, Kristen Bean, WSBT 22 News.